Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with The Last Huntsman Outdoors here, and this is going to be an initial review of this rifle here. This is the CMMG Resolute Mark III, or aka AR-10. So guys, the way I'm going to be doing gun reviews for here on out on the channel is I'm going to start off with kind of an initial review, kind of just show it, you know, with just a few hundred rounds through it maybe. And then as I use it more, get maybe 1,000 or more rounds through it, take it out hunting and stuff, which I plan on taking this out for my deer hunting rifle this year. Then kind of do like a part 2 review and kind of give a little bit more longer term use on it. But guys, let's check this rifle out. All right guys, this is the CMMG Mark III Resolute. This is their 16-inch 308. Guys, this is in the midnight bronze color. I got a little bit of Goon tape wrapped up here on the handle. I just didn't really care for the texture on the handle. However, the actual grip angle and everything like that is just fine. Something else I switched out is they had the fastback stock system on here. I did not like that, especially when wearing like gear and stuff like that. I didn't like the stock catching on gear and ripping itself back on and stuff. So I just switched it to a normal Magpul stock and tube and everything. Like I said, this is their 16-inch rifle here. It has CMMG's zeroed break on there. Of course, this is in 308. Gotta spread some of that hate with some 308. Adjustable gas block. Guys, I got backup iron sights on here now, and I also have a Primary Arms Nova 1x6 scope on here. I'm not totally sure what I think on this scope. I'm still kind of building an opinion. Me personally, I think I would have rather had just a regular ACS reticle instead of the Nova. I think I accidentally grabbed this one, but it's kind of like, okay, whatever, it's good enough. I'll try it. Got it slobbed up with some extra oil and stuff. But guys, so what I wanted with this rifle was I wanted something that's fairly light, easy to pack around with, kind of like a scout rifle that I could possibly use for like hunting and stuff like that. Now, I use that term scout rifle and everybody gets triggered because they automatically think a scout rifle is a bolt action with a forward leaning optic and stuff like that. To me, I kind of got a different opinion on what a scout rifle is. I think a scout rifle can be anything that is fairly light, handy, and can be used in that kind of intermediate type of thing. I also got kind of a little hand stop there. And the sling I'm rocking out on this is the Beach and Tactical Speed Sling. Guys, check out Jacob Peterson and his Beach and Tactical Speed Slings. They're really awesome slings. One of my favorite, especially on this guy. But let's check this rifle out some more. Guys, I was gonna make mention on this. The trigger on this rifle, as we can see, it's clear, empty. But the trigger on this that CMMG uses is absolutely amazing. It's actually probably one of the best AR triggers that I've used. So I'm kind of used to a double stage trigger. This is a single stage trigger, so it did take me just a little bit of getting used to, and that's not necessarily anything on their behalf. I'm just used to mostly mil-spec triggers on my rifles. Most of my ARs has just mil-spec triggers. That's what I'm used to. However, this is definitely a nice little breakaway from that. It's a very, I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't got a trigger gauge out here, but if I was going to guess, it's probably 4 or 5 pounds, which I think is great. I don't really want to trigger too light just because I definitely don't want to compromise reliability. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the trigger that CMMG is using in these. And I do like the 45-degree throw. That's something a little different than on my other ARs. However, it's a nice touch.
Contact front!
So this rifle, even though it's a 308, it definitely, you know, you're going to feel it a little more than a 5.56. However, one of the things that really impressed me with the CMMG, even over that PSA AR-10 that I had, was the recoil on this is very manageable. It's much more manageable than the PSA. Part of that, I think, is the muzzle brake that's on here. CMMG does a good job with their muzzle brake. A little bit of a blast, you will notice it, especially out of a 16-inch barrel. However, I think some of it is just a little bit better gassing as well. And so, honestly, guys, speed-wise, especially with that light trigger, I feel like I could run this as quick as, almost as quick as a lot of my regular AR-15s.
Contact!
All right, now we're going to kind of talk about accuracy. I'm going to do some accuracy testing here. Now, kind of a few caveats right off the bat. I will admit that I'm not the best bench shooter in the world. I'm kind of more of a practical, tactical type of shooter. So there's that. Usually if I'm getting something in an inch or two group, I'm kind of happy with that. So there's that kind of caveat right off the bat. I'm on kind of a rickety ass table. I don't even got a bipod. I got this shitty ass bag, and I'm also using just standard ball ammo. So you know, some guys will hype up match grade ammo and blah blah blah. I don't have the money for that kind of stuff. So honestly, if it can't shoot regular standard ball ammo decently, then I don't really care for it. The 3 ammos I'm going to be using here is I got some I got 3 rounds of 3 different kinds of ammos. One's a PMC bronze, and I have 3 rounds of this, it's no name ammo, but it's Austrian military ball ammo. It came in on these stripper clips. I found it on a really good deal on the internet one time, and I got 3 rounds of just some wolf ammo. I got a crap ton of this, so I like shooting it up. As a matter of fact, let's just start with the wolf here. All right, we're going to kind of talk about some accuracy here. So this is with the wolf ammo, and that's right barely over about 1 inch, if I was going to guess. You know, there's kind of my thumb. I'm not like super precise or anything like this. Now, this is with that Austrian military ball ammo. I'm pretty sure it's 150 grain. This shot, I'm actually willing to contribute to myself. I think I pulled that, but these two was actually really close. That's, you know, like half an inch, so, which is surprising because most of my 308s does not like that Austrian military ammo. However, the CMMG actually does seem to like it. And what kind of surprised me too was here's the PMC bronze. So kind of definitely about a 2-inch group or so. Usually most of my 308s likes the PMC bronze. However, the CMMG, you know, it's practical accuracy, but it's not like spectacular or anything like that. So honestly, I'll take it, especially for just like a lightweight 16-inch carbine 308. There's one ammo I kind of use a lot too, is just a Federal 150 grain ball that you could buy at like Walmart. And honestly, a lot of my rifles seem to like that quite a bit as well, and that's what I have the rifle zeroed to. But I kind of didn't have any more out here, so this is what I had. So, you know, realistically, with my skill in shooting, I'm getting about anywhere from, you know, 1 inch to, well, probably even more like a half an inch to 2-inch groups, kind of depending on ammo, which is kind of no shit, right? All right, so a couple things. We'll kind of talk about some of the features that's on the CMMG Mark III Resolute here. Of course, I pointed this out earlier, but it does have ambi safety that's at a 45 degree. Guys, that's leaned on me quite a bit. I have become quite a fan of the 45 degree safety on there. It also has an ambi mag release, which is pretty cool too. And guys, the bolt release there as well is actually very tactile. Guys, you know, I did a little bit of a video on the PSA AR-10, and I kind of had some issues with it. I kind of rectified those issues, but guys, this is a much higher quality rifle in my honest opinion. And if I was gonna be buying them again, I would just save the money and buy the CMMG. This rifle, honestly, this is a 16-inch. The PSA was an 18-inch. So this one, it's a little lighter, definitely a lighter profile barrel. And you know, kind of like I mentioned, I wanted this as just like kind of a light handy kind of scout patrol, possible deer hunting rifle, which I will be re-zeroing this for some deer loads. I usually just go with 150 grain deer loads because, well, everything else I shoot is roughly 150 grain, so usually zeroing it is just a couple clicks. But so this will be my deer rifle this year. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up the initial review here of the CMMG Mark III Resolute in 308. So guys, overall, I'm going to say I'm very impressed with this rifle. When I first got this rifle, started putting my first rounds through it, I was very impressed. I've handled, several AR-10s. I've owned a couple, but honestly, this has been my favorite AR-10. Guys, the weight and the balance on this thing is absolutely where I think they knock it out of the park on this. So, this is a 308 AR-10, 16-inch, but in all honesty, it doesn't really feel much heavier. Not really. If you're carrying it, especially with the sling and everything else, you're not really going to notice much of a weight difference on these. And so that was one of the major things that impressed me, was just how light and handy it is. I think it's comparable to even my 5.56 AR-15. And that's what I wanted with this, accuracy wise, it's good enough for me. And honestly, I'm going to say it's probably more accurate than I am. Like, I'll just keep it real. I'm not like the best bench shooter in the world, and I kind of got a janky setup here. So, I could probably find the right ammo and squeeze a little bit more out of it. It seemed like it liked that Austrian mil-spec ball, and I can't even remember exactly what ammo that was. I just remember it was Austrian mil-spec, and it came in like an ammo can with stripper clips and stuff. So who knows? It's probably old as crap too, but seemingly it liked that. So I might zero it for that and just really see what I can squeeze out of it. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with this rifle. The handling of it is very smooth. It's very light, handy. I legit feel like this would not only be a good patrol rifle for out here in the sticks and stuff like that, but God forbid if you had to use it for something up close and personal, I still feel like it points and shoots really quickly. The recoil, it manages recoil really good. I've had a handful of, or I've had a few AR-10s, shot quite a few of them, and honestly, this is probably one of the best recoil-wise AR-10s that I've shot. And I think a lot of it, like I mentioned before, is just how it's gassed and the muzzle brake on there. Something I failed to mention was it does have an adjustable gas block in there. It did come with an Allen tool to fit down in there to adjust that. I keep that Allen tool stuffed into my little chest rig. So, as you guys know, most of my go-to rifles, I like to have a chest rig, dedicated chest rig for it. I'm probably going to be doing a different chest rig for this. I'm not super impressed with that. That is just some crap that I had laying around and kind of threw something together for it. But, so overall, I'm very impressed with this rifle. The trigger just was great. Everything was good on this. Reliability was great. Didn't have any reliability issues. And so, honestly, highly recommended on my channel, the CMMG MK3 Resolute. If you guys are looking for something that kind of can fill a niche in your pew pew collection, definitely recommended. The only thing I did change out was I swapped out the stock. I did not like the stock. The fastback stock and everything, that just seemed kind of silly to me. I'll probably swap this out too. This is just one I had laying around, so probably still end up swapping this to something different. But let me know what you guys think. As always, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless, and carry on.